attempt to resolve here on UNT's campus. I'll have more on the story later.
Droughts and fires blanket Texas. We'll explain.
A lifelong jailbird has finally been caught.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV Nightly News.
Thanks for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Michelle Brooks.
And I'm Andrew Fancher. Tonight, an investigation continues into the death of a UNT student.
The body of a male student was discovered late last week in one of the undergraduate dorms.
ntTV's Taylor Davis is outside Victory Hall with more. Taylor?
Thanks, Michelle and Andy. UNT police are investigating the death of 19-year-old Sergei Berlikov, whose body was found last Thursday around 4 p.m. here at Victory Hall. While this is the third university death this semester, officials stated they do not believe there is a threat to the UNT community. Now, the cause of death has not been determined and officials have not released or confirmed any additional details. However, the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's Office is analyzing the death and conducting an autopsy report. We'll have more on this story as it develops. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Taylor. Tonight, nearly 10 million people are under the threat of continued wildfire outbreaks across the Texas Panhandle into southwest Kansas, and millions of others who are still recovering from deadly tornadoes last week are now facing new severe weather threats. Cole Higgins has the latest.
Raging flames fueled by high winds scorched the earth in Texas. 3 wildfires have now exploded in size in Coryell County, merging together, creating the Crittenberg Complex fire, a blaze so massive its smoke clouds block out the sun. Emergency officials warn its plumes of orange smoke can impact areas over 50 miles away.
This is not going to be a 48-hour fire. This fire is going to last several days, if not weeks.
Texas A&M Forest Service reported more than 120 wildfires across the state Monday, saying in a release, by Tuesday, the potential for large wildfires will escalate as critical fire weather is expected to develop over a large area of the state. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has now issued a disaster declaration for 16 counties impacted by wildfires.
Local resources called in the Texas A&M Forest Service on almost 20 other fires just yesterday. So our crews are certainly active across the state.
Now, as the state faces extreme fire danger and severe storms capable of spawning tornadoes, large hail, damaging winds, and flash flooding Tuesday into Wednesday, Governor Abbott is sending a warning for people to remain vigilant, saying in a statement, it is important that Texans monitor local weather reports, heed guidance from local officials, and take proper measures to protect life and property. I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
Well, Michelle, let's hope that last night's rain provided some much-needed relief for those fires.
And our weather anchor, Gabby Cardin, will tell us how important this rain will be in coming days. Gabby?
Thanks, guys. As you can see behind me, the state of Texas is going through quite a bit when it comes to weather. Last night was one example of the storms North Texas has been experiencing recently, and other issues Texans are dealing with include drought and fire. Right now behind me is the drought map. As you can see, onto the far east side of the Texas, there's not a lot of issues. That area only needs about 1 to 2 inches of rain to get it out of drought status. The same cannot be said, however, for other areas of Texas, specifically the west side of Texas and more into the south. The red and orange colors indicate those areas would need around 6 to 8 inches of rain to get them out of drought status. The highest drought severity correlates as well with fire danger levels. This next map we're going to pop up here in a second shows the fire danger levels across the state. Now, if you take a look real quick, where is it? This little small dot right above DFW is actually Denton County. The very high fire danger is a reflection of the 4 fires we had locally in the county over the weekend and 1 fire that was under control. Fire danger is a measure of the relative seriousness of burning conditions and the threat of fire for Texas. Now, outside of that, let's get into our first look weather. Right now we're sitting at temperatures at 57 degrees. It feels like 53 because of that high wind speed at 19 miles per hour. I would like the wind to go down, and hopefully my dreams are coming true tonight because that wind speed will drop down to 3 miles an hour. The temperature will also drop to 50 degrees and it'll also feel the same. Looking into tomorrow's temperatures, that wind speed will go back up to 11 miles per hour and the temperature will be 55 and feel like 52. I'll have more on all things weather later in the show in my full weather forecast. That's all for now. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Gabby. Now, if you're dealing with any sort of legal case and need some guidance from a professional, UNT has a group just for that. The Student Legal Service is having a clinical tonight on the variety of cases they can help with, and our reporter Isabella Quintanilla is on the scene. Isabella, how are we looking?
Thanks, Andrew. I'm here at Chestnut Hall where the Student Legal Services are holding a late-night clinic to help educate students on the wide variety of legal guidances that they offer to students here at UNT. The goal is to offer counsel and advice on cases such as monetary issues, auto accidents, discrimination, harassment or abuse, and many more. The office may also write letters, draft legal documents, represent students, or attempt to resolve legal problems. The Student Legal Services are located at Chestnut Hall in Suite 115 and offer meetings with a licensed attorney through appointment only. You can find out more on their website at studentlegalservices@unt.edu. Michelle and Andrew, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Isabella. An event for students is taking place here at UNT with the goal of providing young journalists networking opportunities. Our own Nomi Sanchez has the details. Nomi, what can you tell us?
Thanks, guys. Well, tonight, the National Association of Hispanic Journalists is bringing some big names to campus in hopes of providing an extra resource for students of color and first generation. Tonight, the Communication Professional Networking Series chapter event will be taking place in the University Union in room 314. Laura Nunez, the moderator for this panel, tells us why this is an event students won't want to miss out on.
It'll get you in the room with real world working professionals, and they'll be able to tell you what you should be doing to land that internship, to land that job, to get those things done, and to start thinking about that stuff while you're still in school.
Tonight, a panel of 5 professionals ranging from representatives in CBS 11 to the Dallas Morning News will be present. All of this with the goal of giving students the opportunity to network for jobs, internships, and mentorships.
It's important because as first generation students, a lot of times we face barriers of like not knowing what to do next, or not knowing where to get help, or if it's okay to ask for help, because you know that first generation guilt of like, do it yourself, you got it. But it doesn't have to be that way. And so the Career Center in this event is specifically designed to help first generation students, especially because you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna be in the room with professionals asking them those questions.
And now this place is currently taking place in the University Union, so if you're free, this is definitely an event you want to take advantage of. Reporting in Denton, Nomi Sanchez, ntTV News.
Thanks, Nomi. Yet another COVID variant is making its way around the world.
And we'll take a look at how the virus has impacted Texas through the pandemic. Stay with us.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Let's get started. This is a motor vehicle. This is the blinker mechanism. To use it, push it up for the right blinker and down to go left. You're welcome. It was easy.
Somos papi chulo, recuerden, don't mess with Texas, y'all.
Just hours after Moscow claimed it would drastically reduce military activity in parts of northern Ukraine, the mayor of the Ukrainian city claimed that Russia carried out an attack on his town. The scale down of Russian troops was supposed to follow the peace talks yesterday, but Ukrainian authorities say that Moscow has not let up in its attacks. Chris Wynn has the latest from Washington.
Ukrainian cities under attack, despite Russia's claim that it would scale back. The northern city of Chernihiv hit by Russian airstrikes as shelling continued through the night.
This is yet another confirmation that Russia always lies. And they are saying about the reducing intensity, they actually have increased the intensity of strikes.
In the south, officials in Mykolaiv say several people died after a regional government building was attacked. Civilians who remain living in a constant state of fear.
They are trying to hide in bomb shelters, try not to be outside as much as they can. But we never know when the hit can happen.
New satellite images show entire blocks destroyed in the port city of Mariupol, including a Red Cross warehouse.
It's also dangerous to go out, even to cook or to bury your dead. So it's the city of mass grave.
And this video from the Ukrainian Witness Project shows the full extent of the devastation left behind in the western Kyiv suburb of Irpin. More than 4 million people have fled Ukraine since the start of the invasion last month. Wednesday, President Joe Biden spoke over the phone with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, promising Ukraine $500 million in direct budgetary aid. In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
COVID is making headlines again this week. First, the CDC approving a second booster shot. The new booster got the go-ahead today, and it's being recommended for adults over 50 or those who are immunocompromised. President Biden was first in line to get his second booster earlier today, just after delivering a speech urging lawmakers to increase funding for COVID-19. Biden said that free vaccines may not be able to continue without more funding. This could be problematic if there is a surge from the new BA.2 strain. This new strain has caused cases to surge in the UK, and now it's making its rounds here in the States. CNN's Mandy Gaither has more.
BA.2, the highly contagious Omicron subvariant, now accounts for nearly 55% of all COVID-19 cases in the U.S., according to the latest data from the CDC.
We know that this new subvariant BA.2 is even more transmissible than the original Omicron variant, and it is spreading quickly.
The hardest hit region continues to be the Northeast, where BA.2 is the cause of more than 70% of all new COVID-19 infections. Health officials warned BA.2, coupled with lower mask use, may cause an uptick in cases in the U.S.
But I hope that there will be enough people vaccinated, combined with prior infection and recovery, that we'll be able to decouple infections from hospitalizations, and our hospitals are not going to be overwhelmed.
Right now in the U.S., COVID-19 hospitalizations are near their lowest point ever. Still, health experts say we need to be prepared going forward.
We have to make sure that we stockpile treatments, that we have enough testing, we also have enough booster doses. We have to prepare for what happens if we have another surge.
The FDA has now expanded the emergency use authorization of the Pfizer and Moderna COVID-19 vaccines to allow adults age 50 and older to get a second booster as early as 4 months after their first booster dose of any COVID-19 vaccine. But the CDC says only about 29% of those fully vaccinated have gotten the first booster.
And that should be the priority, to get people initially vaccinated and then that additional booster before we talk about a fourth dose.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
To stay up to date with all things COVID-related, the Biden administration just launched a new website, covid.gov. It has all the information Americans need on vaccines, testings, treatment, and masks. The website will be available in English, Spanish, and simplified Chinese. This comes after the CDC announced that there have been more than 975,000 COVID-related deaths in the United States since the pandemic began. But at the same time, the country is seeing a sharp decline in both cases and deaths. The efforts by the federal and state governments appear to have been making a difference. And one state with a unique approach to the pandemic has been Texas. Tonight, ntTV's Austin Hedgecoth explores that unconventional response to a global pandemic 2 years in.
That's right, Andrew. This month marks 2 years since COVID-19 first appeared in the state of Texas. Tonight, with 2020 hindsight, we take a look at how Texas approached the deadly virus and whether or not it worked. On March 13, 2020, Texas Governor Greg Abbott declared a statewide emergency as the novel coronavirus made its way into the Lone Star State. On March 15th, the first Texan would die from COVID-19. Since that day, Texas has drawn attention from all across the country for the steps it has, or hasn't, taken to combat COVID-19. While Texas would temporarily ban evictions and non-emergency surgeries, Governor Abbott refused to implement a statewide stay-at-home order or force schools and universities to close.
What may be right for places like the large urban areas may not be right at this particular point in time for the more than 200 counties that have 0 cases of COVID-19.
With Abbott's decision to decentralize the fight against COVID, many counties across Texas issued month-long shelter-in-place orders. However, a few short weeks later, Abbott announced his plan to step in and reopen the state. Over the next few months, while confirmed cases, hospitalizations, and deaths continued to hit record highs, Texas would move forward with its multi-phase plan. Restaurants, movie theaters, and retail stores continued to open, and Abbott announced the state's first mask mandate, an order that would stay in effect until March of 2021. By the end of the year, frontline workers and residents of long-term care facilities began to receive the first doses of the vaccine. In the spring of 2021, the vaccine was made available to the public, and the plan to reopen Texas drew to a close.
Everybody who wants to work should have that opportunity. Every business that wants to be open should be open. It is now time to open Texas 100%.
As election season rolls around, situations appear to be improving statewide. Texas currently has an unemployment rate of 5%, down from 13% at the peak of the pandemic, and the state's GDP is higher today than it was before COVID. Since March of 2020, Texas has reported over 6 million cases of COVID-19 with over 80,000 fatalities. As guidelines of safety continue to change, the central message remains the same. Do your part to stop the spread. That's all for COVID Reflection. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Austin. Now, Andrew, I know you've been enjoying the warm weather we've been having the past few days, but did you expect to feel that drop in temperature today?
I certainly did not. I know it was a bit of a shock for North Texas. Now let's see if Gabby Carden has any more surprises in the coming week. Gabby?
Thanks, Andy and Michelle. Hopefully nothing too surprising is coming our way, but let's get into our temperatures across North Texas. Right now, Denton is sitting at 57 degrees, and it's twinning with McKinney also at 57 degrees. Dallas is sitting at a nice 60 degrees along with Fort Worth, and we can see Graham is sitting also at that 57-degree mark. Now let's look wider out into our state view. Those warmer temperatures are going to be more down south, in Houston at 80 and Austin at 76. And Oklahoma City is one of our lower points at 52 degrees, but luckily that's just outside state lines. Now let's get into this 7-day forecast. Tomorrow we're going to have temperatures around 70 degrees. Friday will be 78. As you see, those first 3 days we're experiencing some partly cloudy skies. Going into the weekend, Saturday we're going to have some more sunny skies to look up to, with the high being at 80 degrees. Sunday, we're going to go back into those partly cloudy skies with a high of 84. But you can see those rain percentages starting to kick in. On Sunday, we have a 21% chance of rain. Monday, we should have thunderstorms. The rain percentage for that day is 84%. And on Tuesday, our high is going to be 80 with a 24% chance of rain. So please plan accordingly, as we do see some rain coming into North Texas. But again, nothing too shocking. That's all I have. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Gabby. Some companies are creating new ways to be more environmentally conscious.
And other companies are creating tasty new ways to get ready. Stay with us.
Time when misinformation is all too common on social media. We take great pride in bringing you the news that matters, that impacts your family, news you can trust. Local broadcast journalists bring you the facts, covering the stories breaking in our community and across the globe. Text TV to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on local journalism. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Airbus airplanes are trying a more sustainable way to fly. The corporation says they successfully completed 2 test flights powered on cooking oil. The tests were completed in France, the first of which being a 3-hour flight completed last Friday and a second test done on Tuesday by a super jumbo jet. The fuel, or SAF, is made out of cooking oil and waste fats. This fuel is already being used in small amounts by other airplanes, but Airbus hopes to fully run on SFA by the end of the decade. And good news for people who feel cloth masks are so 2021. The World Health Organization says roughly 90% of people worldwide breathe air that rises above their pollutant limits, and Dyson has a solution. That's right, a company best known for its vacuums and hair dryers is branching out to provide cleaner air. Dyson is releasing its Dyson Zone, which is a set of noise-canceling headphones that also provides purified airflow to the nose and mouth. Officials at Dyson say this product will provide wearers protection from noise pollution and air pollution at the same time. Dyson says it tests hundreds of prototypes before coming up with the final design. And so far, there is no word on how much these headphones will cost, but their launch is expected this fall.
Have you ever wanted makeup that smells like breakfast? Well, you're in luck because today e.l.f. Cosmetics announced a collaboration with Dunkin' Donuts. The line includes 2 glazed for days lip glosses, a coffee-scented lip scrub, straw-shaped makeup brushes, 3 Dunkin' Dozens scented eyeshadow palettes, and makeup brushes shaped like straws. There's even a donut-shaped makeup sponge and a limited edition e.l.f. Dunkin' branded coffee cup. Prices range from $6 to $16. The collection will be available to e.l.f. loyalty members starting Thursday and in Ulta's nationwide on April 3rd.
Now, Michelle, I hear Dallas scored 2 big wins last night.
Yeah, that's right, Andrew. It was a Texas over California kind of night, and I think our sports anchor Jeremiah Russo has more. Jeremiah?
Thanks, y'all. Coming up next, you'll find out what teams got a Texas-style beatdown, so don't go anywhere.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, man. Oh, sorry.
It's that time of year where everyone plays a dangerous game with the flu. Going in uneducated, you run the risk of symptoms like cough, migraine, and fatigue. Don't be like this guy. Combat the flu with cough drops, ibuprofen, and a good night's sleep. Be smart, don't catch the flu.
The Dallas Mavericks had their way with the Lakers last night with a 128-110 win. Luka Doncic put up a 30-point triple-double, now tying Hall of Famer Wilt Chamberlain for the 5th most in NBA history. Oh yeah, Luka's only 23 years old. The Mavs look to build off this key win against the Cavaliers in Cleveland right now, streaming on Bally Sports Southwest. The Dallas Stars rallied back against the Anaheim Ducks last night with a 3-2 win. John Klingberg, who many thought who had been traded at the deadline, helped out the Stars on the score sheet along with goals from Foxfa, Hintz, and Peterson. Dallas now has the sole possession of the second wild card spot in the Central Division. The Stars face off against the Ducks again tomorrow night in Anaheim at 9 p.m. WWE comes to Dallas this weekend with the biggest wrestling event of the year. WrestleMania will take place at the AT&T Stadium Saturday and Sunday at 6 p.m. Stars like Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, UNT's own Stone Cold Steve Austin, and many more superstars will lay it all on the line for their shot of glory. Tickets are still available, and two-day packages are also available for those who don't want to miss a single match. That's all I have for sports. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Now, our last story caused a lot of discussion in the newsroom, and not to mention some horrible jokes.
Yeah, that's right, Andrew. Let's see. Bird on the Fly, Pink Floyd Rocks Flamingo Go-Go, and some that were even worse.
But there is good news. Our feathered friend came home to roost here in Texas. Matt Dougherty has more from Houston.
Birds are abundant along the shores and waterways around Lavaca Bay this time of year. You can find them in all different shapes, sizes, and colors as they fish and shrimp the Gulf undisturbed. But earlier this month at Rhodes Point in Cox Bay, an environmental activist caught video of this guy who looked a little out of place. Upon closer inspection, the bird had a leg band with inmate number 492.
It can move down into Mexico. It can be moved back up here.
The Houston Zoo's curator of birds, Rick Urban, says there's no telling how much of North America the fugitive flamingo has seen in his 17 years on the run.
Might be a little awkward getting off the ground, but they can fly like 35 miles an hour and travel, over 350 miles.
Back in 2005, the bird known as Pink Floyd escaped from his habitat at a Kansas zoo more than 800 miles away, along with another flamingo. The companion who he's been seen with in years past is no longer traveling with Floyd. Not that it matters to him, Lavaca Bay is swarming with flocks of spoonbills this month during mating season. Based on their appearance, they likely make Floyd feel right at home. Even better, the bounty hunters from Kansas have been called off. Floyd will get to spend the rest of his decades. Flamingos can live up to around 50 years, free as a bird.
As long as there's plenty of food, no predators, he's doing real well.
In Port Lavaca, I'm Matt Doherty, KHOU 11 News.
I think we can all agree that that bird needs to buy a lottery ticket because it is one lucky flamingo.
I know, he gets to live out the rest of his days happily like that.
I mean, you think I can maybe have a pet flamingo after that?
I don't know how you're going to take that on a walk. He seems pretty comfortable with his free will.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
We'll save that for another day. Thanks for watching ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow night here at 6 on North Texas Television.